For our next artwork, we're going to be using Surrealism to create a realistic color pencil drawing. We're calling it Something in My Eye or Nose, Mouth, and Ear. So maybe using facial features. So our inspiration. This artwork is by Renee Magritte. And if you remember when we looked at our exquisite corpses, we talked about surrealism. And with surrealism, we're often basing the works on fantasy, works of the unconscious, the subconscious, dreamlike states. And so, what did he do to make it fantastical? What did he alter? So, notice how he transformed the iris into the sky. So, is this what he's looking upon, right? Or he wants us to see, right? Often in surrealism, they juxtapose two things that are unlikely. Why would he put an eye in the meat? Now, most of us haven't maybe eaten a ham steak like this, but a lot of the ham steaks have these tendons and veins, and then also literally a bone. So maybe he saw the eye shape while he was having dinner one night, right? Or Adeline Redon's using a hot air balloon or seeing an eye in a hot air balloon, right? So our target is to use realistic detail and color to create a composition that uses surrealism. And we'll be using the different features of the face as well as other realistic details. So you have some choice. In your choice, you can either create a surrealistic composition. It could be nightmarish or creepy, or maybe you see images and shapes within other objects or around the objects. You could also play on the metaphor. So thinking about what the eyes, nose, mouth, and ears are used for. So things like sight, smell, taste, and hearing. Can they predict the future, right? Can they see the past? Or maybe even playing on the qualities of the eyes, nose, mouth, and ear. So like an example with the eye is my eye focuses. So what could be used in replace of focus or used to depict focus, or blinking or tearing, or maybe I even have dry eye from my allergies, right? So with surrealism, what imagery can you add to the eye or around the eye to make it nightmarish or creepy or fantastical, right? Notice how the student was looking around their environment and was looking for shapes that look like eyes. So do you see eyes, nose, or ear shapes in other objects, right? What are you looking at, right? So this one is a metaphor for sight. So notice that the iris, right, is a image of what they're looking upon. What do you see all around you? This one that was done remotely. You can see the coronavirus is illustrated in the iris. So the virus is in the iris. So maybe even a little play on words. And then thinking about what your eyes, nose, or mouth can do. So here, the eye, right, tears, but instead of being just a simple tear, it's a waterfall, right? So thinking about qualities of noses, what's your nose doing here? It's running, right? So they found realistic images of legs of frogs to add these running images, right? Or does your ears ever get waxy, right? So using the honeycomb of the wax and kind of playing on the stickiness of honey, right? Is this surrealism or a metaphor or a quality? This one is a play on words as well. So apple of my eye, but it is also ironic because it has the bloodshot area as well. So it's not just a positive image. Maybe it's hard to be the apple of someone's eye. Right? So if you come up with another idea, just make sure it's complex enough for the requirements of the assignment, right? So we're going to go ahead and plan. And so for the planning, we're going to make a copy of this brainstorm based on the Canvas assignment or the agenda. And so we're going to come up with 9 different ideas for this. So we can play on fantasy. And so there's some examples there to help you. So we come up with 3 ideas. 3 ideas playing on the quality of the eyes, nose, mouth, or ear. And you can mix these up too. So you could do all on eye, or you can do one for eye, one for nose, one for mouth, or two for eyes and one for mouth. And then you'll do three for metaphor. And then from those 9 ideas, you're going to pick your best idea. So you'll put that in there. And then you're going to need to think about and brainstorm what kind of imagery you're going to have to find or take in order to get this idea across. And then you'll place those in your research slides for your digital portfolio. Now, if you are struggling with the brainstorm and can't think of what to do, you can also use a technique that's called Scamper. Scamper is used by artists and designers in order to alter a product. So SCANMPER all stands for things like substituting one thing for another, combining it with something else, adapting it, so changing it to make it better, or what can be added to it to make it better. The M is for modify, minify, and magnify. So altering, making the image smaller, making the image bigger. Putting it to another use, so giving it another function or purpose. Eliminating what can be removed or modified or simplified. And then R would be reverse, using the opposite. So you see some illustrations here. So substituting one thing for another. So substituting a pencil for a pen, or combining an elephant and a cup to make an elephant cup. And A, adapting it, giving it a new purpose, using the eraser as a paperweight, modifying its function, putting it for another use. So container can be used to hold a pencil, right? Eliminating, taking something away, removing parts of it, using the reverse. So if any of these help you to make it more fantastical, feel free to try to do that too, right? So the imagery can go beyond the feature, it can go around the feature, it can be in the feature, or it could be a combination of the both. So here the black part of the pupil becomes the mascara as it streams down, right? Can it become something else, right? So when you're brainstorming, try to move past your first idea. When we think about the tear of the eye, most of the time people just think about one little tear coming out, but thinking about droplets or splashes, waterfalls, drips, kind of pushing the idea to new ones, right? Feel free to take pictures for yourself. So find a picture or take photos of someone's eye that you find interesting. It can also be your own. Think about trying it from all different angles. So you move past your first idea where everyone wants to do frontal. You can also research your image references. So here, the more open eye was used. And then of course they found images of their safety pins in order to add the safety pins to it. And like I said, you want to move past your first idea. So try different angles. You can even use close-ups, right? And the technique that we're going to use is going to be realistic color pencil. So we'll learn how to do that. We'll learn how to mix the colors. And we'll even have color pencil portrait color pencils in order to do this, right? And then when we think about how we're going to be able to do this, we're going to need some really good references. So you want to go ahead and brainstorm your ideas, and then you want to find your reference images that you can use to create that surrealist effects, because surrealism is very realistic in nature. You want to make sure your references images have enough detail. So this silhouette is maybe a little too simplified, but the eye would definitely have to have a lot of good detail in order to make it work. If you work kind of fast, you might want to push yourself to try something more complex and detailed. But on the other hand, if you work very slow, you probably don't want to choose something that has too much visual information, right? So think about what kind of imagery you can use to make something more 3D. This one might not just be enough. Okay, and we want to make sure that we use our references. So even here, how it has a good idea, it's not necessarily the best drawing because it's a little bit too simplified. So we're going to really use our references to do this. So go ahead and start working on your brainstorm.